I'm trying to stay away from Kyle Pitts this week.
I am too. It's just frustrating. But the problem becomes is do you want to carry 2 tight ends and you're ready to cut Kyle Pitts? I think if the name was different and the expectations were different, a lot of fantasy managers would be cutting Kyle Pitts at this point. All right, Dave, you got a couple running backs on the same team that have been doing a nice job. Certainly last week was the case, but you don't like Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams.
They're great for the Broncos. They're terrible for fantasy. Although last week they were both pretty good for fantasy. Williams more so than Gordon, and Gordon got hurt in the first quarter of the game. But they're taking on a Chiefs team. No touchdowns to running backs in their last 7 games. 3 running backs with 100 total yards in those 7 games. And the most recent one was Devontae Booker in Week 8. The Chiefs only have 17 missed tackles in those last 7 games. It's the 5th fewest in the time span. I am nervous to start these guys. They are low-end starters at best.
Totally get it, but I think it's hard to get away from them. Now, let me just ask you this, because there is Melvin Gordon on the injury report. If Gordon's out, Javonte Williams must start, right?
Absolutely. I would change my team completely if that happened.
All right, totally understand that. We'll keep an eye on Melvin Gordon's health, but we'll see if Gordon and Javonte can deliver once again. Heath, let's look at your your sits here, and we got some Patriots running backs on your list and my list, one in particular on each of our on our list here. So Damian Harris for you is the one that you're avoiding.
I mean, I'd like to avoid most of this game. It's just a pair of very good defenses in what it should be a low-scoring division battle. And scoring is pretty much all you can count on for Damian Harris. Now, you look at Harris and Stevenson over the last 2 games, a complete even split. Both of them 38.9% of the Patriots' rush attempts. Considering how little they do in the passing game, that low of a rush share, this low of a scoring game, I'd like to sit both of them.
I agree in terms of Stevenson, though. I like Harris slightly better. I think, with the big division game, I think we'll see Belichick lean on his veteran a little bit more. Harris does have the touchdown in the last 2 weeks compared to these 2 guys. Stevenson's production has been bad the last 2 weeks with Harris on the field, so we'll see. But they're both in the same range. They're both better served as flex options. Hopefully you don't have to start them, and we'll see. Look, this Bills run defense, I don't know exactly how good it is. We've seen 2 teams that have run at them with 2 star running backs in terms of Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor. Those 2 guys combined for 7 touchdowns. They've allowed 8 touchdowns to the position in terms of rushing touchdowns on the season. All right, so you like Elijah Moore. I don't like Elijah Moore. Make your case for him.
It's just the fact that over the last month, he's been a top 10 wide receiver. His bad game was 9 PPR fantasy points. In that bad game, he had a 33% target share. It's just they only threw 24 passes, so he only had 8 targets. You should expect they're going to throw 30 passes, and 10 of them are going to Elijah Moore this week.
Hopefully so. I think a lot of people are still hoping to start him, but the change was, and Dave, you were concerned about this last week, was the return of Zach Wilson, and Zach Wilson not connecting with Elijah Moore. And it's not just, we talk about this a lot, it's not just Darius Slay. Steven Nelson and Devontae Maddox have been really good in terms of the secondary for Philadelphia, and they're number 3 in fewest fantasy points allowed to the position. So hopefully Moore plays better. Hopefully the targets are still there for him. I'm just a little bit concerned to call him a must-start wide receiver. He's more of a number 3 receiver for me this week, and a guy that has shown to be started in 3 receiver leagues.